So many of you have been asking where the bow gameplay is, and to explain it, during Season 4, I've shifted a bit more focus towards an educational content route, considering we are now back in Ranked. Oftentimes you're going to see me on meta picks again, but I am back to my flex pick roots, where I've been a flex pick for a while. I did play a lot of heavy back in the day as well, but I'm trying to keep it a bit more even, but I do lean a little bit more on the light side, simply because of the teammates that I have. Now, with the bow buff, I felt it might be viable in the comp scene back in the day. So this buff I really thought could really push it there, especially if I spend the time to actually master it again. And well, that's just not fully true. While it is much better, it gets hard countered by Model, Pike, Defib, and Healing Beam. And well, we all know that most of the season, those things are extremely prevalent. I decided to explore more options on light after the XP54 got completely gutted at the start of the season, and I've been really pushing weapons to their limits. And there is one weapon that I completely overlooked for so many seasons, and this one really sort of took me a while to actually try out because I had always overlooked this, and that is the throwing knives. I was actually watching Neon Guts over on Twitch. Feel free to check him out if you haven't already. He's using throwing knives a lot right now, and I started noticing that the damage numbers were a lot better than I was expecting, and it just started to click. The throwing knives are basically a better bow. So let me explain. The damage values for bow range from 60 to 120 based on the charge amount per arrow. The headshot multiplier is a 1.5x, so that means we range from 90 to 180 damage per shot with headshots. The throwing knives deal 60 damage per knife, but when you left click, you actually throw two of them, so you're effectively getting 120 damage here. And the right click deals 140 damage with a 1.5x headshot multiplier, which makes it deal 210 damage, meaning the throwing knives have superior DPS and they have superior breakpoints. So let me start breaking down the breakpoints for different classes. So on the bow, for killing a light, you can either charge up to 110 and then quick melee them, or get a follow-up shot, which deals 60, so you would only really need to go up to 90. Or charge up to 100 with a headshot to get the 150. With throwing knives, you can left click for the 60 times 2, then quick melee. You can right click, then quick melee, or get a follow-up body shot. Or if you land a headshot on one of your left clicks and the other in the body, it is also 150 damage. Or a headshot with the right click obviously is going to deal 210 and will kill. The knives have more breakpoints, and the speed at which you can throw knives, not talking about velocity here, just RPM, you can land a lot of these combos a lot faster. Now for medium, this is where breakpoints get kind of crazy, and was the main thing where I started doing the math and realized how strong they can be. So when using the bow, 2 fully charged shots deals 240, meaning you need to quick melee after. A headshot deals 180, so a quick shot of 60 damage will actually leave them with 10 HP. So you need a full charge plus a partial charge to kill. You also need quick melees to finish targets after multiple hits sometimes, and depending on the charge amount, meaning the bow when facing mediums is very, very rough. Often, sometimes you're just going to leave people with a sliver of health. You really need to play into your partially charged shots here to maximize your DPS. Now let's get into the throwing knives. With throwing knives, you can do 2 right clicks for 280 damage. Or you can do a right click and a left click. Hitting both of your left click knives will end up totaling 260 after the right click. You can also hit a headshot right click for 210 damage, which means that they are a quick melee away in order to get the kill, or just one more left click knife. Now these breakpoints are extremely significant because the TTK difference is pretty massive versus the bow. In a season where medium has been dominating everything, having to deal with heal beams all the time, the slower TTKs on bow significantly ruin its chances to be competitive this season. The throwing knives are fantastic for dealing with mediums, so this is why throwing knives are so strong right now. I genuinely see them as something that has a chance to be competitive. So let's get into the heavy breakdowns, and then I'll touch on some other details that are important to note. The heavy class breakdowns again show a lot of promise for the throwing knives, but let's cover bow first. 3 full charge shots deals 360 damage. There isn't many other approaches here. 2 full charge headshots is pretty difficult to accomplish, and 1 headshot still requires 2 follow-up shots as a full charge headshot plus a body shot will give you 300 damage. Not even enough for a quick melee breakpoint. For the throwing knives, we can hit 6 left click knives for 360 damage. 2 right clicks put us at 280 damage, meaning we need 2 left click hits. So it's not as optimal to go for the 2 right clicks, as the 70 HP that is left is kind of an awkward breakpoint, but we could potentially throw another right click, making it feel a little bit more like the bow needing those 3 charge shots. But if you land a headshot with your right click, you leave them at 140 HP, meaning you can get a right click body shot, making it very strong if you land a single headshot. Now not requiring 2 headshots in a row, you just need a headshot and a body shot. A follow-up left click also leaves them in quick melee HP range, or if one of those knives hits the head, you will also kill. Heavy is a bit more difficult to kill for both weapons, but the speed at which the throwing knives can be thrown with the left click means you can actually melt them by just throwing a bunch of knives. But landing a headshot actually feels very satisfying with the throwing knives because you end up in some new breakpoints. The lack of reload on either of these weapons also helps with burning the mesh shield users and not feeling like you're going to get caught out while reloading. Now, things that I think are really important to note: when sliding, jumping, or in air, your throwing knives left click will be inaccurate, so stick to right clicks when you are moving in the air or sliding. The bow is always accurate no matter what your movement is. The velocity of the bow is so much better, but even as someone with mastery level 8 on the bow like myself, I have to say I rarely ever take longer range engagements on the bow. It's much more beneficial to just stay within a short to mid range with bow. And if you are genuinely trying to win and not just going for flashy clips, the bow still has the range where you do kind of need to play at a medium to close range. Even though the bow still has better range, keep in mind when using the throwing knives, the velocity is going to be the thing that kind of holds it back from beating it at range. So I find it best on both weapons anyways to just aim for chunk damage at that sort of medium range point, which the bow definitely is better at because of the velocity. And then when they are lower HP, just try to close the gap and then get the kill. The thing is, when you do land the throwing knives, even if they are a little bit harder, it feels a lot more significant because you are reaching these new breakpoints. So for this reason, actually, on both weapons, I really love using frag grenades. If you're doing the math, sometimes these weapons are going to leave targets at around 60 to 10 HP. So an entry with a frag means you might just need that one less knife or one less arrow to finish the job. So with everything considered, I simply feel as Season 4 stands, the throwing knives are just a better bow. Until we are out of this medium meta for good, the bow just isn't putting up enough of a fight in order to beat the throwing knives. The breakpoints on medium with throwing knives are just so amazing that they are essentially a counter to the meta. We will have to monitor how these patches go, and maybe we'll see some changes to the meta in the future. But until then, subscribe for any content on the finals. Thank you to all my members. Comment below what weapons you think are the most underrated, and I'll try to explore some of these myself and maybe make some videos about them in the future, because there's a lot of them that I definitely know a lot about, but maybe haven't fully put in the work to sort of see all the mastery level that I need to get with it in order to see its true potential. But I do have a good understanding of everything in the game. But there are things like this where it's like, even though I understand a lot of it, I don't fully understand some of these breakpoints until I practice it. So channel your stylish montage energy, hit some sick throwing knife clips, and I will see you in the finals.
They're so low. That medium is low as well.
Heavy's less than half. Just medium. Padded.
Of course. He's gonna be big.
Just light. Heavy even. Nice.
ASUS.
Catch a break. Team wipe again.
They need to resurface and reassess.
The top shells are playing for
Playing with their
keeps.
dolls.
They've snagged the match's first cash out.
Action figures.
I fucking hate. Let me get the fuck out of this fucking weapon.